What is up, everybody? So much has happened since I last did a live stream. First thing, I got a job with CBS, doing a lot of research behind the scenes during Serie A. It's really, really cool. And the one thing I think if you've been following me on Twitter is you'll see that I've been putting in a lot more stats and things like that, using search engines and tools that I never had access to before. It's I think that's like honestly my favorite part is just being able to look up and see these figures like chances created and who has the most points from a losing position and is able to overturn that. So a lot of little things that I never thought that even existed out there, and it shows you just how much like that stats have come in a long way. And I think of that film Moneyball, which is really good if you've never seen it. So that's just basically looking at a team and how to make them successful based off of statistics. And that since that movie has come out, it's completely revolutionized the industry. So the first thing is Vlahovic, right? He's going to Juventus, and there's definitely a couple pluses. They're not pluses for me, but there's some pluses, and I think one is that he stays in Serie A. He does not go to England. We don't look like a feeder league. Serie A does not look like a feeder league. He goes to a top team. It's very good for him. Fiorentina makes some money, not as much as they should have. I'm not sure how proud they dropped the ball on that, especially since his contract does not expire until 2023 in June. So he still has just under a year and a half remaining of his contract. So the fact that you're not getting 100 million for him when he still has over a year remaining on his contract is mind-boggling for me. What disappoints me most is not that he goes to a rival. It's that teams like Roma and Fiorentina tried so hard, Roma much more, to get a stadium, a privately owned stadium. And you think of Milan and Inter, and they're about to get privately owned stadiums. So then you'll have a consolidation of the teams who already have the most revenue in all of Serie A, and they'll be getting more because they're going to keep those funds all to themselves when Milan and Inter get their stadium, and they're going to be very economically sustainable. And for the rest of the league, that's not a great thing because we don't like wealth disparity in sport. If you look at the NFL right now, you have such a salary cap where it makes a balance. You don't know which team you're going to get. Yes, there's generations and you can build dynasties, but it's very tough and it's a much more disciplined style rather than in football where you can just buy your way towards success. So I'm really afraid of the economic disparity, and I think Vlahovic is just a major sign of that. And as we move on, though, back to Roma and Fiorentina, and I'm leaving out Napoli because they're an exception because they have an older man who's pumping in money to them. They're still making big purchases like Osimhen. So Napoli's a little bit of an exception there. But then you looked at Fiorentina. Camiso tried pretty hard to get that stadium. Pallotta tried almost a decade, guys, to get a stadium in Torre di Valle. And after scouting and how many proposals went through, and Parnassi and the guy who won the stadium, and then the lawsuits that came with it, tremendous, like insane. The amount of red tape, legal paperwork there was. And from what I remember speaking with people at Roma was that they would say that the attorneys would come in the office and some days they would be super happy. And other days they'd say, oh, it's all up in smoke. The plan's ruined. And then it would happen again. They would come up and they would be super happy. Yeah, we're going to get a stadium. It's all going to go. And then nothing. And it became this revolving door of emotion. And ultimately, Roma does not have their stadium. I hope the Friedkins have maybe something planned. You know, they work in such silence. So it's like impossible to know what they're thinking. My opinion, when Roma first started thinking about a stadium, I was 23 years old, maybe 24. And I thought that it was too ambitious as a 24-year-old. This is what I was thinking, 25. And that maybe they should just go to Testaccio and try to renovate that. Because at the time, Testaccio was an old, I think it's an abandoned car lot. It was used for like garbage. And I thought, okay, you know, it can't fit that much. Maybe 40,000 the area. What's up, Cliff? The area, like 40,000 people could fit. So it's not going to be one that that could support Champions League finals or World Cups, right? But I thought that it was the best decision at the time because unless you were going to go to the airport and you were going to go out to Fiumicino, that would have been a great idea. But Pelotto did not want to move out there. I guess he felt that it was too far. Yes, Cliff Vlahovic to Juve. We're going to see how he does under Allegri's tactics. I was talking a little bit about him before and the economic disparity that this just highlights and why it frustrates me as a fan. But back to the stadium for a second. It's discouraging because I dealt with this for so long as a fan. There's no hiding who I am. People know which team I support. I don't have to play a game or charade or some diplomatic tactic here. So it's disheartening, and I feel sad. I feel disappointed. I love this team not only for the players that I grew up watching, but for also the people that I celebrate alongside with, and I support this team and love Rome, the city itself. So I want to see the equality, and I don't want to see Serie A continue down this path where, okay, for the last 10 years, it was Juventus by themselves economically, and the Scudetti that have been won reflect that because they won 9 in a row. But when it becomes Inter and Milan, who have the stadiums, well, there's going to be a drop-off. You're going to have not 7 sisters, but 3. And is Juventus really a sister? No, they're the maternal. They're the grandmother. They're in charge of it all. Cliff, I don't know too much about that stadium with Parma. I haven't been following that. But, Kyle Kraus is he's an interesting character, man. So every big team, every big market in Italy should have their privately owned stadium because it's for the benefit of the league. It's healthy economically. It gives fans something proud to go to in the 21st century. And when you view it on TV, it's interesting. Fans, from a TV perspective, necessarily, they don't really want to see that. They don't want to see something that's far away from the field where the fans are disconnected. One of the most amazing things about Serie A is the fans, is the passion, the songs, the banners. I hate that word passion. I'm mad that I just used it. But the banners and the songs and the fanfare and the Tifo wars, it's such an incredible league. And you got to get the fans close to the field. That's what will make it just an incredible viewing experience. And we'll keep pushing this league up where kids who are 8, 9, and 10 will watch it on TV, and it'll become very interesting to them. And then they'll become fans, and they'll become lifelong fans because of that. Okay, rant over. Let's talk about Mancini. And before I talk about Balotelli, I want to think about the starting 3. So if, let's say, Portugal is tomorrow, what 3 do you put out? And I can't believe I'm saying it, but I think the center forward still has to be Ciro Immobile. Don't kill me here. I know what you're thinking. Like, how could you? He's useless. He hasn't scored. He was terrible in the Euros. It was like playing with only 10 men. And I echo that. I totally feel that. However, Mancini gets what he's comfortable with. Someone he knows that will work hard, will work for him. Somebody who, if he does get a sniff at goal, he's going to put it away inside the box. Let's not lie to ourselves. Immobile is an incredible striker. He pads those stats against the lower teams, though. And that's the caveat. That's the exception. And when we look at what he's done European-wise, it hasn't been there. But like I said, he's going to work hard. He's going to be there. If you put someone like Scamacca ahead, a striker that I love. That's funny because Cliff just wrote in about Scamacca. If you put in Scamacca for Portugal, and then, God forbid, Italy loses against them, there will be hell to pay for Mancini. It's a choice that could perhaps destroy his legacy. Let's say Italy wins either way. Let's already win, right? If you go with Scamacca, it's a gamble. I think it's a much bigger gamble than Immobile. Also because if it's going to be Berardi and Insigne on the left wing, and those two, they haven't been familiar with him. Bernardeschi hasn't been familiar playing with Scamacca or João Mario or even Zaniolo, who wasn't called up for this practice. I have no idea why. So that's why I don't think Scamacca plays in Portugal. Going into the World Cup, I think that's a different story. You got to be a little bit different dimensionally. because as of right now, Italy could be considered one-dimensional with Immobile as the center forward. But I think you go in knowing that you are, use that word a third time, one-dimensional, but you go in and you grind it out, having faith in your players, knowing that this is a championship-winning team, Italy, and confident that they will go and get the result, because even though Portugal is extremely talented, one of the most talented player-for-player teams that I've seen, I think Italy plays them, and wins. So Cliff says, I think it's the time to gamble. If Italy don't make the World Cup for a second time in a row, the world might crumble. It's insane to even think about that. I don't know where you were, Cliff. For the last one, I didn't even watch it. I was working. I didn't take any days off. I said, nah, it's fine. I don't need to see it. It's kind of weird. That was 4 years ago, 2018. Oh my gosh. Anyway, João Mario, I think he's a good look. Him and Scamacca going forward. I would really like to see Zaniolo as the false nine, as the trequartista slash. Is there a false nine name in Italian? False nove, I guess, but I haven't really heard that term used too much. I think it's because it's not used yet in tactics. Maybe once it is, kind of like a tiragir, it will start to hear that that name more. So right now, Portugal, for me, it's got to be Immobile at the center forward. After that, when Italy do succeed, then you start to tinker. You go Scamacca at center forward. You try Zaniolo as the false nine. You give João Mario a shot, because we haven't really seen him play with good players like Cagliari. I mean, come on. They went like 9 games or something. Like, they're an insane run where they didn't get a point. They were just stinking for a very long time. Only now in 2022 have they started to, I think, play to their strengths and show that, you know, they are a much better side than they've represented in the first half of the season. So I think João Mario, I would like to see him with some better players and see what exactly he can do. And if he starts to play good with the Azzurri in those chances, then he's going to be at a Cagliari ASAP. I actually can't believe that he's still there. It's kind of nuts. He was supposed to go to, not supposed to, but I know that Atalanta, I'm not going to tell you how I know that, the source, but Atalanta were trying to get João Mario, and that would have been an interesting signing as well. Moving on. If I just got an alert, Kreider scores a power play goal. I'm a big Rangers fan, so I'm just reading that update there. Rangers are doing good. Lecce-Roma, Abraham Brace. None of his goals, his 17 goals this season so far, it's insane. None of them have been penalties. He's hit the woodwork 4 times in Serie A, but I think 6 overall. So I think that people can also accuse him of padding his stats in Europe, because Roma's in the Conference League. But when you look at the big teams he's faced too, he's scored against them just as well. So Abraham is a hell of a player. Such a joy to watch. I've wanted a really good center forward at Roma for years. Since the days of Totti, I've been begging for a center forward. And then, you know, they brought in Francesco Tavano, I think. And he was not the answer. And there's been a slug of guys ever since. Shout out to Marco Borriello, very nice guy in person. But it's been since probably Montella before you had a guy in the box and even outside that could really score goals and win games. So Sarfraz says, Abraham is the best young striker in the league. Source, trust me, bro. Yeah, I totally feel that. And you know what I think, Sarfraz, what you're saying is that the eye test. We don't need statistics to look at how Abraham plays. We don't need assists, chances created, shots on goal percentage, block shots, whatever it is. You look at the way Abraham plays, and he is a complete center forward. I can't think of one weakness really in his game for a center forward. Is he like a dribbler? No, he's not a playmaker. That's not his thing. But for every vital component, as a center forward, he's got the attributes. He's got the skill set. I think Abraham would have been really good under Fonseca had he been here last season with how well his link-up play is. Yeah, good shout for sure. Abraham is exceptional with his link-up play. He's got a bunch of assists so far, just flick-ons, clever through the legs, one touches. You love to see it. And then, of course, when he gets the ball on his foot, he has got a rocket of a shot. Also from Lecce-Roma, shout out to Mkhitaryan. When it's funny because when I'm doing the stats for work, sometimes we'll do sliders where we like insert the players on the screen, right? And it comes out, the official formations come out. And you see Roma officially a 3-5-2, but they don't play a 3-5-2. And you'll see Mkhitaryan lined up as far as the official lineup goes as a center mid, but it's not like that at all. What happens is Roma shift and they'll work like a 3-4-2-1 and they'll shift into a 4-back. And then Mkhitaryan will also shift in between the lines. He becomes the trequartista, which is very good because at first, when Mourinho first started coaching here 7-8 months ago, he had Mkhitaryan out at left wing, and he was definitely wasted there. So Mourinho has kind of reinvented Mkhitaryan, and as an attacking mid, pushing, driving the ball forward, he has done super well. Ibanez, Mancini, Smalling, good looks for them yesterday. Vigna, I think he's been doing better in each game. Karsdorp, solid. He came on for a little bit, but it was really Niles who settled in so nicely, calm, cool. He's not that big of a guy, especially for an outside back. A player that I don't think that he'll stay permanently in Rome. I would like to see him just intuitively, what I've seen so far. He seems to have like a really good range to his abilities. Like I just love that he's calm on the ball. I think back to his first game that he played against Juventus and he lost his mark. But I mean, the man had just landed off the plane. You can't go too hard in him just yet. You got to give him the benefit of the doubt. And overall, I've liked him so far. Zaniolo, I think I ruffled some feathers on Twitter yesterday because I posted a picture of my preferred starting 11 as of match day 23. So based upon recent form and what I've seen throughout the season, who would be at right wing? I put Zaniolo. I had Berardi there at first because he's got a ton of goals this season. He's the first player in the league with at least with 10 assists and 10 goals, I believe. But there's something special about Zaniolo. And take away the goals. He's got a few now, good. And they took away his against Juventus, which is crazy, after he played so good. And the eye test, let's go back to this. He plays so well in wanting to get the ball, in wanting to drive the play forward, in not always making the right pass. But I saw it yesterday. And who was it that put it wide? Was it Niles? Geez, somebody really messed it up. Zaniolo played them in. Was it Cristante? I don't think so. But he's been doing well. He's been doing better, and I think that just under Mourinho, he's been great. And it's so important to remember he's a young guy. He's missed out the past 2 years where other players like Chiesa have been able to develop, and other young, exciting players, they've gotten all this time. Zaniolo has not. This is his breakout season because he hasn't had seasons. I wouldn't call 2 years ago, 3 years ago, before he hurt himself, breakout seasons. Those were just glimpses where we started to look and say, who is this player? He's incredible. And started to think, oh, maybe something is special here. But now we can begin. And Zaniolo can really start his career. Knock on wood. But I'm confident with that amount of muscle he's put on. And let's just pray that everything will go good for him. And he's in my match day 23 team of the week. And that's why. Shout out to Cristante, who I think is a good rotational player. He's been doing pretty well with Sergio Oliveira, who gets the ultimate shout out of shout outs this week. Third player to score in back-to-back games. The others being Kiviu and Stefan El Shaarawy. So pretty cool stuff for Sergio Oliveira. How different this team looks immediately. Calm, cool. He makes the game just looks so much easier. And I read something that he got overlooked a little bit because Portugal is so stacked with center mids right now, crafty, registe type center mids who can play the ball long, who can play the simple pass, evade pressure, play it out from the back, from a deeper role. in that he kind of got overshadowed because of that. He's 29, so he's, it's not old. It's 2 years younger than me. So, but I've been so impressed with him. I'm really glad. Hats off to Mourinho and Pinto working together to bring him over. Guys, let me know what you think. I will keep doing these for sure. I know I've been absent a while, but my life has been crazy. I cut myself with a knife last night. Do you see that? Yeah, not fun. Forgot it got sharpened. What else? I know you've been hopefully watching on Paramount Plus, or you've seen stuff with Matteo Bonetti, Mike Rella, Marco is doing a great job. These guys they're tremendous, and it's really cool to work with everyone. I'm just happy to be a part of it. This is my dream, really, to be with the sports and to keep it moving. I want to deliver Roma. I want to deliver Italian football in a way that makes people fall in love with it the same way that I did. That's my dream. That's what I want to continue doing. And this is, it's not just a habit. It's very much an obsession for me. From the second I wake up, like probably you do, I check out the Calcio news, or I'm reading stories. Just read an amazing one about Theo Hernandez's tactics and the way that he cuts through the middle, underlapping runs on the Athletics. I just want to read as much as I can. And I thank you for your support. Subscribe if you want to. If you want, subscribe. I'm not going to tell you what to do. We'll talk soon.